Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coffee and Conversation. My name is Honorine, and this is a place for graduate students to have a relaxed and informal conversation about life during this pandemic. Today, I'm with Moletedi Ntseme, who is doing a master in the School of Theatre, which is part of the College of Fine Arts. Welcome, Mo.
Thank you.
So tell me more about yourself.
First, I should mention that I'm from Botswana, Africa. It's in Southern Africa, and I've always loved to perform. I know I've been performing from church, and then I went on to do my undergrad in theater, and now I'm doing my master's. And so I don't know, it's just something I love doing, and I love working with people, and art is fun.
Yeah. So tell me more, how did you end up at FSU? Did you do your undergrad in the US, or how did you arrive in the US actually?
Oh, well, I did my, do you have time? I did my undergrad back home in Botswana. All my education I did in Botswana. And then...
Theater? Was your major theater?
Yes, my major was theater.
Okay.
So I was in the Department of Visual and Performing Arts under Humanities. It was still a new department, so we didn't really know what was happening, but it was fun either way. And then one time, my former professor handed over his theater company to me, and he said, "Here you go." And he's had it for like 10 years, since 2000. And this was 2016. So I took over, and I realized I have no idea on how to run it. So I started looking up schools and seeing if I could do my master's. And I said top 10 directing schools, masters in directing schools in America. And I found Florida State University. That's when I went into the rabbit hole, and I found my program. And the entire journey is crazy, but I got here.
So tell me more about this crazy journey.
Oh, first I didn't even want to apply. Like, I opened the application, and then I said, this looks tedious. So I stopped. But it seemed like I had already entered my email. So they started emailing me every week. When I tell you, for like 2 months, I think, not every week, maybe like once in 2 weeks, you know. Mm. But then I was looking into one university here, Juilliard, until I realized that I'm not really an actor, I'm more of an administrator.
Okay.
So when they said no, I was like, oh, there's this other school that's been emailing me, Florida State. And it was past the deadline. But I emailed them anyway, and they said, it's okay, just send us your application and we'll look at it in January. And I came here for my interview in March with all my eggs in one basket. I was coming for one interview. Yes.
You came all the way to the US for an interview?
Yep. One university.
There was no like Zoom or...
Nope. We did a phone call at first, and then after the phone call interview, they said, oh, we'd like to invite you, because they wanted to see how I work with other students. Okay. So I said, you know what? And I was broke at the time. I just said, yes, I'll be there. I didn't have a visa. I didn't have money. I just said, oh yeah, great. I can make it. I'll make it. After hanging up, that's when I said, oh, how am I going to... And this is I had to be there in a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. In a month.
Was it enough time to get a visa?
Yeah, it was. For me, it was, because my visa only took maybe 3 days.
Oh, wow, that was fast. So how did you do it? Like, did you work more? Did you...
Listen, I'm a believer in God, and I feel like that's what happened. Because I can't tell you how things happen. Like, I don't know how things got easy, but things just got easier as I continued with the process. I'm the one who was worried a lot. Like, I don't have money, what am I going to do? But then every day is like there's a text or there's an email or there's somebody saying something. So I just started applying for stuff. I said, I'm going to apply for the visa. I had a job at the time as a French teacher, as a part-time French teacher.
Ooh.
So Yes. So that's how I paid for my visa, but it wasn't enough for my, with my cost of living and then having to buy flights for my interview, it was not enough.
Yeah.
So I found other ways, and crazy thing, I don't believe it. I don't really like loans, but at the time I had to. But I didn't qualify for a loan. So until like 6 months into working, and I've only had my job for like 5 months at the time. So I had to wait another 3 weeks before I could qualify for a loan. And it got approved a week before I had to come to America. Yep.
Wow.
I applied for my visa. I got my visa. They didn't know if I had money to fly. I paid for it, got the visa, and now I had to figure everything out. But yes, a week before I could fly out, that's when it got approved. And that's how I got here, and I got accepted, and now I'm in university.
It was meant to be.
I believe so. I mean, there's more to the story, but
I love that story. It's so inspiring.
thank you. And honestly, I have to, like, if I don't say this, it wouldn't be right, but I have to thank every single person who contributed. Some would give me $1, in my currency. Some would give me an equivalent of $100, and all that kind of came together, and I was like, oh, damn, I have, pardon my language, I'm like, oh, I have a lot of, now I have enough money, but my greatest thanks goes to this one lady. Her name is Joanna Kamani Aboe. She's from Uganda, and she literally paid for my flight when I moved here.
Wow.
When I say literally, I mean literally in the literal sense. She called me. She knew that I needed money, and she also needed money. She was, moving back to Uganda and all that. But this lady one morning just calls me and she says, "Hey, are you free tomorrow at 11? I'm like, yes, I am. What is this for? I wasn't, by the way, because I had to go to work. But I said I could make it. I could move things around. And she says, meet me at Barclays Bank. This is how she speaks. Like, meet me at Barclays Bank tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. I said, I'll be there for sure. I called my work and said, I'm not going to be there tomorrow for work. Pardon me, I have to attend to something. Went to the bank the following day, backpack, waited for her. She was running late. She texts me. I'm like, okay, this is happening. She works at the bank. I wait for another 15 to 20 minutes. She comes out and we are sitting in the bank and she says, oh, my dear, I can only help you out with $1,000. I said, that's enough for my flight. And she said, how much do you have? I said, I have about $200 towards my flight. And she says, how much is your flight? I said, it's $1,200. And she said, I'll give you $1,000. And while we were at it, she said, you know what? Let me give you $200 more in case you want to buy yourself some stuff. And that's how my flight to America, my one-way flight to America got paid for. That's my story.
So tell me more about your research.
I call it From Passion to Profession.
Ooh, I like this title. That's catchy.
Yes. And it started this year, sort of. I did a conference presentation on it. Mm-hmm. And now, tomorrow I'm submitting a chapter for a book. Wow. About the same research. So I've kind of been doing it for almost a year now by myself. And it's about passion to profession, how we can take passion for art and turn it into a profession. The same thing we see in America, how art is a profession, and you have all the different laws and unions that cover art. But it's unfortunate that we don't have that in Botswana and in some African countries too. So although my research is focused on Botswana, I wanted to, as the years progress, to spread to other African countries and see if we can help, at least reduce the rate of unemployment. Because we have a lot of people that are talented, young people, elderly people, kids. Everybody has some form of talent. But we haven't really taught people how they can make a living out of that talent, And instead of us looking to the government to provide jobs, my thing is, how can I help artists, earn a living without having to look at the government to provide that? And the profession side, so the passion is the identifying or identification of the art, and then the profession side is now where theater management comes in, what I'm studying, or arts administration. All those talents need to be managed. Look at Hollywood, how they're managing their talents. Look at the music industry in America. You always have an agent or you always have a manager. Because as an artist, your job should be on making music or making whatever you make, and you don't have to worry about finances, about marketing, about all those other things. So that's the system I want to create in Botswana with this research. And my research is just to see how it can work and how I can apply what I'm learning here to what I want to make in the future.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So you want to go back home once you're done with your master?
I do and I don't.
The struggle of every international student.
Yes, yes. I do and I don't. And I'm saying this not because, I hate home or anything, but because of what I actually want to do. I feel like there's still more I can learn in America before I apply some of these things, because I wanted to do this right after, and I realized, oh, that's too soon, it's a long-term project, so no rush.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to do is to start the project by, start the project on the educational side by just educating people about it, so that when I implement it, people are aware of what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you thinking about doing a PhD? Does it exist, a PhD in theater?
No, not with my program. This is like the highest. This is the highest you can get with theater management.
Okay.
With MFA, BF, with finance, yes.
Okay.
But from here I can branch and be a little more specific and do arts administration, which now is more broad and more academic than theater management. So yeah.
Wow, that's great.
That's my plan. I'm considering doing my PhD. I just need to see how that is going to affect my projects and my future plans. Yeah. And once I see that, and I see that is not too much or it's not going to delay me, then I will pursue it.
Okay. So there is still some thinking to do.
Yes, there is, and some research to do.
Yeah, well, that's all the time, right? With everything, I feel like you can always think more about everything and take more time. And sometimes you just gotta jump,
Right, and of course, as international students, you know that finances are a big issue. It's not easy to find a scholarship. A scholarship in America by the American government for international students who are from where I'm from. So there are some specifics where they say, oh, if you're from this country, you'll get it. If you're from this country, you can become in-state. Unfortunately for Botswana, it's not the case.
Yeah, it is. As an international student, I see what you mean. Because, like, for instance, I study like French stuff. So I cannot apply to the French, the French government, they have some scholarships for American students. I cannot apply to that because I'm not American. And I cannot apply to the French ones because I live in the US. So it's like, okay, well, let's find something else.
Right, let's find something else. I gotta, this does not typically happen. But for some reason, I managed to get a tuition waiver every single year since I've been here. Nice. So that I pay in-state. And I thank my department and my program so much, for making it happen, making the phone call. Because I called financial aid and they said, oh, tuition waivers are a department thing, it's not us. Your department decides, or your school decides, we want to give this person a tuition waiver. And that's what happened. So I basically kind of got a scholarship for 3 years a scholarship I wasn't sure about. So I got it every beginning of the year. I'm like, oh, I got it. Okay, great. Let's go another year.
Yeah.
So I'm so thankful. Yeah.
You know, I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
I truly believe in that mentality, and yeah, and I think that, you know, you deserve what you get when it's good, but also when it's bad, you know. So
Right?
if you got it, you know, you put the work and you got it and you deserve it, and that's great.
Yep.
Doesn't mean the struggle is over, but
Right. Because
there's,
I think sometimes all you need is peace of mind
yeah,
before you could tackle all the struggles that you have. You're like, okay, I need to breathe first, and then I will deal with this, you know. And what you just said about everything happening for a reason, and you know, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I believe that 100%. When I said, do you have time in the beginning, I meant it, because I could go on for 2 hours just telling you about how everything happens for a reason. And so what he taught me is that I should learn to say thank you every single time. When things are bad, I say thank you because now I know what not to do, or thank you, now I know what to avoid. Thank you, now I know that I shouldn't do this. So I don't personally see it as rejection or as a, you know, it's like, oh, no, not now, not this. It's like, look somewhere else, and that's where you have to go, but not here.
yeah.
So that thinking, that mentality just gives you peace of mind.
I like that. I like this piece. I'm gonna see rejection differently now.
Yes.
To me, rejection is more like, because, you know, I'm sure like many other graduate students, I was also rejected when I applied to PhD programs. And first it's hard because, you know, I had this conversation with another graduate students that I was saying, you know, when you do a master, you usually, like, you know, you're one of the best, and because it's only the best undergrads go for a master, and the best masters go for PhDs.
PhD, yeah.
And so in your program, usually you feel like, you know, you're one of the best. And so, you know, I felt like, yeah, the school, they will want me, you know, like, of course I'm French and I want to study something French, like, why not? And then, you know, you receive the rejection and you're like, oh, like, I'm not that good actually. And like,
Right?
it's a good reminder, like, that, you know, there is always better than you. But also that, you know, when you get rejected from PhD programs, it's not only about, like, we don't want you because you're not good enough, but it's like your research is not matching our research.
Exactly.
And so that was, you know, like, I truly believe that FSU was the best fit for me, and it was meant to happen. Like, I'm really happy I'm here today, in my third year as a PhD
Oh, yes.
student. And yeah, it was meant to be, and I've grown so much, and I don't think it would have been possible in another school.
Yep. And
everything happens for a reason.
exactly. And you remember I mentioned earlier that I applied for Juilliard and they said no, and I was like, oh man, I guess I'm not an actor. And can you imagine if they just said yes? I wouldn't have known that I am more of an administrator than an actor. You know, if they just said, if let's say they just accepted me because I'm an international student and I'll bring diversity or whatever, I don't know. But I wouldn't have, let me say, I wouldn't have been as happy as I am now. Because now I work with actors and I see the work that they put in. I see the countless hours of rehearsal. And I said, I don't think I want to live that kind of life.
Yeah.
So I'd rather be an administrator, and I'm cool with it. So that rejection, I'm not mad at it. That was good. It's good that they said no.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, but I think it takes some time to realize, like, hey, it's okay. Like, it was meant to be, and I kept repeating myself this, but at that time I didn't mean it. I was like, it's meant to be, Honorine. But in my mind, I'm like,
I mean, you can.
I rejected.
It's so sad.
Yeah, it's sad, like no one likes to be rejected.
Yeah.
But then in the end, you need sometimes, and then you realize, like, thank you for this rejection.
Yeah, because don't get me wrong, I was hurt. Like, rejection still hurts.
Yeah.
It's what you do, it's how you react after. It's what, are you gonna stay in that feeling? Are you gonna be hurt for the next couple of years hating that school? Or are you gonna say, you know what, that hurt, but it's human to feel pain when you're rejected. So this will be done. This will be over soon. Now let's move on. Life is not waiting for me, you know?
Yeah,
So,
it's true. Life is not waiting. Life
no,
goes on.
keeps going.
All right. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. That was very inspiring. So I hope that you're gonna be able to. When are you graduating, actually?
Spring. This coming spring.
Wow. Okay. Well, I hope you're gonna get your plans together so you know what you do after graduation.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna have an amazing, maybe Zoom graduation.
Okay. You know, I think it is gonna be a Zoom graduation. Something just tells me deep down.
Mm.
Yeah. But I'm not mad about it. Again, I came here for my degree and that's what I'm getting. So
Yeah. And
how I get it?
it's great souvenir. I feel like we were living a once in a lifetime experience,
Yes.
and I think it's I traded my car, so I basically got a new car, and then they're always like, oh, let's take a picture with your car. So we were posing with my fiance, and the salesman is like, oh, you should take off your mask, and I'm like, no,
No.
I want the picture of me, like taking, because I want to show this picture in like 30, 40 years
Mm-hmm.
to maybe my grandchildren and be like, oh, why are you wearing a mask? And I'm like, oh, like,
Let me
how about
tell you.
let me tell you what was happening in 2020. What a
Yes.
crazy year.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yep. I posted a picture of myself wearing a mask the other day, and I looked at it and I said, wow. I'm gonna look back at this picture and say this was a wild time. And what's crazy is that I feel like we are also gonna remember specific moments. You say, "Oh, that picture that was on this day, this month," you know.
Yeah,
So,
because it feels like every month is a new year because
yes.
something new is happening. Like. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
I'm actually happy to experience it.
To
Not happy to be like stuck here, but at the same time, I'm like, well, what would I like? That would have never been a possibility for me to be stuck in the U.S. And there is a worse place to be than being stuck
right.
in the U.S. So I won't complain. But yeah, I feel like you learn a lot about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I love this conversation. That was so positive.
Me too. That's me. That's my energy.
That's perfect. You bring great energy.
Yes, I'm glad we could make this work. Like I'm glad we could transfer positive energy through Zoom.
Yes, everything is possible through Zoom. You just have to find your ways.
Right.